Hey guys, welcome back to another week of Autastic, your comedian's guide to autism. I'm one of your hosts coming to you remotely from Sweden. My name is Kirk, and my co-host and buddy...
Graham K. Hello, everybody. In the background, you can hear...
right on cue.
Yeah, it was awesome. Yeah, Kirk is in Sweden hanging out with JJ. We got JJ in the background watching Veggie Tales. This is a big show, guys. I'm in New York. We also have a guest. We haven't had a guest in a while. I was approached by a professor, a university professor, who was doing a study on the effects of siblings, on siblings who are neurotypical, who grew up with a disabled sibling. Yes, anyway, so her name is Pamela Block. I believe she's a doctor. You know why I'm stalling?
And remind me, she has a sibling with autism, or what's her connection again? Remind me.
I believe so. I believe she does.
Got
and she did a study on it, and she just found out that her young adult child is diagnosed with, I assume, high functioning. But yeah, I would like to ask. We're going to ask her all sorts of questions. She's a professor at University of Western University in the Anthropology and Social Science department. That is Western University is a big university in Canada, and we're excited. We're excited to have her on.
It's very exciting. I'm going to step in another room. He's been quiet all afternoon, and I take a phone call.
Because he knows you're on the phone.
Yeah. So I'm going to step right outside see if that's quieter. I'm right outside.
But you
can still hear him, but it's hopefully less loud.
Yeah. You did ask him earlier to put his earphones in, and he did do it, which is nice.
Yes.
But I think
he
now
did it, and then he took them out, and then I gave him the stern headphones, please. And so baby steps. What he's doing right now, if you can't hear him, is he's imitating the sounds of different videos, and so he mimics the voice and parrots it back. And that's what you're hearing. If you're wondering what is he saying exactly. How was speaking of week in review? How was your week? How have you been? How's good old Pete?
Pete is good. I talked to him this morning. We did our classic Bert and Ernie right out of the gate.
Nice.
No real switch, no real change. We had a brief discussion about coming down to see me here, and I was like, "Are you gonna come see me in New York?" And he said, "Yeah, in July or August." And I said, "Okay, how are you gonna get here though?" He said I could take a train or fly. I said, how are you gonna fly alone? Have you ever flown alone before? He said, "Yeah, it's been a long time." I was like, "You have? When did you do it?" He said, "When he was 19 years old, my parents wanted to stay longer in Florida, and they flew him home."
You know, they have a program for like unaccompanied minors, and I wonder if it applies for people that need a little extra assistance. I wonder if, especially if it's a direct flight. I mean, it makes sense.
There is no direct flight, I don't think, anymore since COVID.
And that's so unusual. From the largest city in America to the capital of Canada, there's no direct flight.
Yeah.
Actually, there is. I'm taking one, actually, now that I think about it.
Oh, you are?
Yeah.
Okay.
It is on Porter Airlines. The options were Porter Airlines and United Airlines, which is technically going to be Air Canada. But it's out of Newark.
Yeah, you're going to Toronto first, buddy.
New York is... No, I'm going to Ottawa.
Nope.
Okay, well, find out soon.
You will.
I'll send you my itinerary.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, I am in Sweden, like we talked about. Today we had a very eventful day. Went to IKEA, which is his favorite. The hits. They just keep coming. Then what else did we do? We were trying to find him some new underwears. This is a very glamorous day. Some new underwear, some the breathable underwear. He's a big sweaty man, kind of like his dad. So we did that, and What else did we do today? We had we do like our little walking is through an IKEA, the upstairs, then the downstairs, then we went to the stores, then we went to the downtown area. We had an eventful day. It was good. I'm only out here 4 days. I did a cruise, and it was a European cruise, and then I got off the ship in Stockholm and took the train up to see him. So it's been one of the few times something worked out that was
That's great.
smooth so
That's
far.
super
Yeah.
smooth, man. You got paid to go visit your son for once instead of taking out 13
Yeah.
credit cards and using the miles.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well, this trip that I'm going to screenshot and send to you that I'm going to Ottawa was through miles. You laugh, but that's how I booked it.
I want to see this screenshot. Send me this screenshot.
Excuse me. I got a cold, and I've got a summer cold, which is always fun. But yeah, just a screenshot. Newark to Ottawa, 1 hour and 44 minutes. There's no way that has a connection. But anyway, I digress. Clothes are always a challenge for him.
They're
And,
back. That's
so
good news for Pete. Maybe get Peter on a porter to Newark. That means I have to go to
Yeah.
New Jersey to pick him up. Forget
It's
it.
if you're from New York, you know that's a trek. That's kind of a yeah. It's in theory it's only like what 10 miles, but it's a good hour and a half. Yeah, it's good longer than the flight.
Yeah.
It'll probably take you longer to go get him than he'll be in the air.
Oh,
Seriously.
100%. It'll be a schlep.
It'll
But I
be
have
an hour
a
and
car
half
now.
each way.
I have a car now. So at least
Yeah, you've got to replace him for the silver bullet. You've got the green machine.
I
Yeah.
got the green machine. Yep. Bought her. I found out that 3 of the 4 tires were rotted, so I had to get a whole new set the other day. Yep. It starts, my friend.
Sorry.
It starts.
Sorry. I would like if we were doing a movie right now, we'd do a flashback to a conversation you and I had in a garage. If you want to get something reliable, you shouldn't get this. You should get a Toyota. Kirk, but it's so beautiful. Okay.
Yeah, that's how I pick
It's
my
nuts.
women too.
If you want something reliable, this is not the one. But
Not the one.
Kirk,
No thanks. I want to live, baby.
she's so beautiful.
Yeah.
No, you need somebody sturdy who can last through a winter.
No.
No, I want someone beautiful.
A
Hilarious.
crazy frail lady.
Tomorrow tomorrow on the agenda we're going to the hydro baths. It's called. It's a semi water park that we go to. Some of this stuff I feel like is more for me than him. I have to make him go do it, but he'll just, he's on his videos right now, happy as a clam, trying to steal all my food, and so he eats in his center. Obviously, it's the meals they prepare for him, but obviously I don't. I'm staying with him, but they're not budgeted to feed the dads of the autistic people.
No.
So I get my own food. The problem is if I put it in his fridge, he steals it. So now I'm trying to figure out things that I will eat that he won't eat. And so it's like, at first I would get like hard bread because he didn't really like hard bread. Well, the last 2 times he's eaten all the hard bread. I'd get hard bread and cheese and like, some fruit. I thought, apples. He's not going to like eat a bag of apples. He ate a bag of apples.
Wow.
He didn't used to like peanuts. Get like 4 pounds of salted peanuts. Like it's quote unquote nutrition. It's not, these aren't like, I don't know what to get. So now he's eating the peanuts. So I'm like, geez, Louise. So now I figured out boiled eggs he will not eat.
You're just
I-
eating boiled eggs.
Well, I can eat egg salad, right? Boiled eggs with a little bit of yogurt and mustard is how you do it without the mayonnaise. And so, yeah, he'll leave that alone. So I've got boiled eggs, and then the other stuff I have to keep in the community closet, or the community, fridge, which I should post this on my Instagram. But the kitchen is fenced off. There is a fence inside the house with a lock that was built specifically for him. And
So why can't you put
you'll
your
see
put your
him-
food behind the fence?
I can, but then I have to go ask for permission to be unlocked. And so I do. I keep most of it there, but it's like, I feel bad. I don't want to interrupt these people. They're actually working. I'm like, I'm hungry. I need a snack. And so I got to go ask them to unlock the kitchen. So, and it's funny to see him with a bowl. He's got a giant bowl, like a big plastic bowl that on Fridays they'll do like his big like Friday treat. It'll be like a mix of like some mixed in candies with some chips and some popcorn. It's like I don't know, like I guess
Party
kind of a
bowl.
Chex Mix.
Yeah.
Yeah, party bowl. And so he'll grab that party bowl and go stand there like he's begging at the fence. Mind you, this is a man who's about 50 pounds overweight. I'm not making fun of him. I'm just saying he's not starving to death. But he stands there with this look on his face like, just just a little taste, please, sir. Like he's a Dickens character. Oh, it's the cutest thing ever.
That's pretty cute. He must be really happy when he gets it, though.
Yep, yep. He's counting down the days to Friday. Believe me.
How's he doing? Is
And
he
then,
happy?
yeah, I think he's doing good. His dad's a soft touch, so we went to the store and got all the stuff. So we've gotten all sorts of snacks that we had to hide in the kitchen anyway, because if not, I've done it before. He'll be very good when I'm awake, and then I'm jet lagged, so 7:30 or something, I'll fall. I can't help it. I just fall asleep on the couch. I wake up, everything's open on the floor. There's dark chocolate. I thought, oh, he doesn't like dark chocolate. All the dark chocolate was gone. Everything was gone.
Wow. Does he get sick after eating all that?
Excuse me.
A bag of apples and dark
You'd,
chocolate and peanuts?
you'd think. No, iron stomach.
Like you.
Iron stomach. Yeah, like father, like son. Well, should we interview this lovely professor that you met?
Yes, this smart doctor, I believe.
Very smart
I don't know
doctor.
if she's a doctor. I should. Oh, PhD. Yep. There it is.
Oh my goodness, what is happening over there?
It's not a tight ship over here.
Yeah, clearly,
No.
it's a sinking ship at this
Yeah.
point. Yeah,
But she does
it's
exist.
a submersible sub.
And we'll be talking to her in a moment. So we are into the interview portion of this episode. We are on Zoom. I could see Kirk in Sweden. It's a lovely evening, sunny. Hair's looking great, Kirk,
Sun's not
by the
going to go
way.
down tonight. Yeah, it's 7 o'clock. You can see the sun's bright as ever.
Oh, really? Let's do this. Let's keep it going. Let's do a 5-hour podcast. And now we have our wonderful guest patiently waiting, Dr. Pamela Block from, it's Western University or University of Western Ontario? I always mix that up.
Either one, but yeah, they trained me to say Western University.
Yeah, great. Well, Western University is more prestigious than University of Western Ontario. So happy to have you.
Or it's better marketing.
Yeah, I don't know. It's the same one. But anyway, thank you so much. Thank you so much for being on the pod with us. You're a professor there in the Department of Anthropology and Social Sciences. Is that correct?
Yeah, I'm a disability anthropologist
Oh.
and a disability studies scholar.
Okay. And we met because you contacted me and interviewed myself and my brother about the relationships between siblings. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Okay. And what was the point of that research? What were you hoping to achieve and what were you looking for?
Well, we're really interested in learning more about the experiences of siblings in Canada, and in particular, siblings that are like older, whose
Yeah.
parents may not be in the picture anymore, or maybe be becoming less in the picture.
Mhm.
I'm personally, both of my parents have passed away, so I'm me and my other sister are the main supports, or family supports for our sister Hope. And
And your sister Hope is
Hope was
nonverbal.
yeah, she's non-speaking,
Mhm.
and we live in different countries, right? I'm in Canada, and she lives in the northeastern U.S.
Mhm.
And our other sister Karen lives in California, so we're all pretty dispersed. So,
Right.
but we still try to remain connected, and
Yeah.
has these like really great supports through. She has great place where she lives. But when my mom was still alive, she was really, really amazing advocate, and knew the service system really well, and and they knew her. She was, she was an activist. And in their later years, my sister and her were activists together. And, my mom kind of is one of the parents that kind of hopped the rails and more identifies with autistic activists. And they sort of schooled me to do that as well. And that's really influenced my research approach, by the way, and the kinds of questions that I ask.
So does it worry you? Like here's my question. So my parents are 75. And yes, I live in Canada, so there's different support systems, but your parents have passed. Like, what you decided to do this research because you were concerned about, like, or curious about what the effects would be on older siblings taking care of their younger siblings when their parents pass,
I can't
right?
say it was my idea. I was kind of like people from Siblings Canada. We all kind of connected, and it just kind of happened. We
Sure.
all are that same
Okay.
age. All of our parents are like, we really kind of shared that
What's Siblings Canada?
to know more, but they really kind of came to me with this idea. We want to know what the state of affairs is here in Canada and what needs to improve. So, and I heard that, even though my sister is in the US and not in Canada, I mean, I'm very lucky, and she's very lucky that she has these really great supports down there. I don't think at least so far, from what I've seen from the interviews we've done so far, most people do not have anything comparable.
Yeah. So, 2 questions. One, what is Siblings Canada? And what are some major differences between Canada and the US in terms of support systems that you have found?
Oh, I was going to ask you that, actually, because I don't know the Canadian system that well yet. But to answer your first question, so Siblings Canada is a nonprofit organization that's supported by the Center for Caregiving Excellence and the Azrieli Foundation. They are there as a network to, to support siblings, to provide resources, mentorship, information and referral, a shoulder to cry on, somebody to share your struggles. Yeah. And your joys.
But they're siblings of people with disabilities.
Oh, yeah. Yes. I took that as given the nature of the podcast, but yes.
Kirk had a question.
Sorry to jump in. I was just asking you, what is your research about? I wanted to, tell us about that. What are you trying to research?
For the siblings project, pretty much what I
yes,
as I was saying, we're really looking at care relationships between siblings, the different ways that so like there's this very sort of traditional way of looking at, like, there are caregivers and care recipients, and we're trying to kind of explode that binary. This idea that somebody is always dependent and somebody is always responsible. And we found it's a lot more dynamic and complicated, and care often flows in different ways, and different sorts of care in both directions. And we're not saying that, so there are some relationships that are complicated. There are some that involve conflict and things like that. But
how does the care reverse itself if somebody needs constant, is nonverbal and needs constant assistance? What do you mean by it's? Expound on that a little bit.
People aren't necessarily giving each other the same things, but usually it's a relationship where, you are enjoying each other's company, where you're looking out for each other. Like my sister will poke fun at me, like she has ways of just laughing at me when I'm like running around like a chicken with its head, I get very anxious. I get very high strung. She just gets a certain look on her face and a laugh. So the kinds of things that people we've interviewed have said, are that, people are looking out for them emotionally. They're making sure that they are eating. They're making, they'll make special foods that they know their sibling likes, or, just making little gestures to, but there are other more tangible ways that people can take care of each other as well. But just the idea that, we are, and also, over time, as relationships change, the dynamics of caregiving change too. I mean,
Mhm.
to step back and think about a younger child living with adult parents, you know, even if they have an intellectual disability or autism, like as the parents age and into disability themselves, you know, the child will sometimes step into a, like what you were referring to, like a more of a caregiving role, right? Making
Yeah.
sure that they're steady on their feet, or, you know, those kind, picking them up off the floor or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah, I can see that starting to happen a bit with my brother. Like he is taking a little more care with my parents in terms of like coming over to lift stuff and all that, which I'm really thankful that he's there, because I can't be there to do that. But when they get older in the next phase, when they become truly, really old and need a lot of help, um, I am terrified because I am going to have to move back home and take care of my parents. My brother can't do it. And then I'm going to have to take care of the things that he needs taken care of. And that's going to happen really, really soon. And in terms of like the difference between Canada and America, I don't like Canada has more help than America, but still not a lot. He's part of a government assisted program called Live Work Play, where they help. It's at this stage of his life, it's mainly like a social thing, and then they do have people that come and they help them get a job. They have someone come once a week to help clean his house and go grocery shopping. They set him up with a therapist, and it's all free. My parents do donate money because they have a little more means than everybody, but they're mainly they survive off donations and government funding. And it's not a national service, so I don't know what people do in Saskatoon or whatever. I have no idea. I imagine that there's other services like that, seeing as though that they were able to get government funding. I don't think there's anything like that in America. I'm sure there are some that are funded by churches or whatever, but not government and not regulated. And yeah, so my brother does get some money from the government each month. It's not a lot because again, my parents are poor. But he does not get enough money to support himself. I'm going to have to do it. And for me, it's like, um, yeah, I get a lot from my brother. I have like, um, a, a one man show where the end was the what ties it all together is like, I might not have any kids, but I have that love. I get that reciprocated love from someone, and I'll have that for the rest of my life. But it also means I'm going to have a giant 8-year-old to take care of my entire life. And it's like, I honestly find it very daunting and scary.
Yeah, I mean, we definitely have seen a lot of that feeling, especially in Canada. I do feel like it's not universal in the US, right? Like services really vary. I think my mom did a really good job setting my sister's supports up in advance. And my mom actually moved across the country even before she passed away. She was not living in the same state as my sister. But the one thing that my mom didn't do was ensure that she owned her own place. Like if Hope had her own house,
Yeah,
she would have a lot more. She's had a lot of housing insecurity. She's had to move around a lot, and
my parents have done
service
that.
systems,
Yeah.
you know, they seem like they live in constant austerity, and then sometimes they might get a little better, and then it
Uh-huh.
gets, there's no stability, and they don't take care of the workforce. So, you don't have like where it used to be a career that people could support disabled people, and that would be their career, and they would have benefits and they would have retirement. That seems to be less and less true. Like um, as agencies have less money, they're cutting back on the number of full-time positions that would give those kinds of benefits. And so people who used to be able to just have one job now have multiple jobs. And
And where did they
even
get
if
the
they
funding
love the
from?
field, they burn out.
Where do they get the funding from before? Who is cutting back the money? Is it the American government?
So there's federal funding and state funding, right? Like
Yeah.
through Medicaid. I think a lot of the support systems, and there's like the developmental. Sorry, now I'm afraid I'm gonna get the legislation and stuff wrong, but there are legislative mandates to support people who have developmental disability. The term developmental disabilities is an invented term. It's a policy term, right? That identifies a specific group of diagnoses, people with diagnoses. And my sense in Canada is that, well, it's the family's responsibility. You know, and for people with complex medical conditions, for people, you know, like there are children, this was a group that I was studying before I left the US and moved to Canada. I've been in Canada for about 4 years now, but the people with complex medical conditions who require 24-hour skilled nursing and complex technologies to survive, such as mechanical ventilation. In the US, at least, it varies state by state, but in New York, where I used to live, you could get skilled nursing 24/7. So, you know, to support the person that needed that level of care. And especially when they're children. Okay. And in Canada, you can get 8 hours, or at least in Ontario, you get 8 hours, and you're supposed to sleep during those 8 hours. And the family is supposed to take care of the rest. I mean, that's a huge difference in terms of, you know, like siblings are expected to maybe not even work anymore, you know.
What have you found? What are some of the, do you have any results like of the research you've done that you can share with us, or is that coming?
Well, we are still at the very beginning stages, but we have some themes that are starting to come out. Interpersonal communication. Like, I'm really interested in how siblings communicate with each other. You know, how, like, even just while we're interviewing them, how they, you know, the different ways they use words, they use looks, significant glances, checking in with each other, arms around each other, touching each other's, you know, stroking, or, you know, just kind of letting the one of the siblings might, you know, be restless and just kind of get up and sit down and, you know, just kind of move through the space comfortably. And it's just really nice to be able to observe that. And we're interested in how people build meaningful daily lives for each other, you know, like that, with that goal of sort of expanding options and building more independence for both, like, so that both people can have like their own lives, you know, and they're not just sort of forcefully entangled, you know, and negotiating those that personal assistance work, right? Which I want to separate that out from care. I spend so much time on, you know.
Kirk's done that. That's why he's in Sweden. He found the best results were in Sweden for him, and even then that's a state where people can still make a living wage being a caretaker, but he still has to negotiate constantly. Still has to always stay on top of them.
Well, that's one of the things we found, is that, like, as good as things are, they could always be better. You know, even if they're very good, like, it could always be better. And you have to decide when, you know, you have to pick your battles too. Totally. I'm being told that a lot. That I need to pick my battles a little more carefully.
Where can people find your research? What are the plans for publishing it, and where can they find it? And when
Well, we're going to start making presentations. I think that we'll be talking a little bit at the caregiving summit that the Center for Caregiving Excellence is mounting in Ottawa in November. We haven't started writing for publication yet, because, like I said, we're still in the early days of this study, but we will be doing that. We'll be doing webinars. If people are
interested in being interviewed for your project, is that something that you'd be interested in hearing from them?
Absolutely. If you're in Canada and you and your sibling, or just you yourself, would like to talk with us, absolutely.
Where can they reach you at?
They can reach me at pblock@uwo.ca. And you know, like I was saying, even if you know, people are happy with their situations, you know, there's always something that could be better. You know,
totally.
So you know, and housing was also another issue. I think in Canada, especially, it seems like there are fewer options. The expectation is the family is going to provide more support.
Interesting.
And there could be a plethora of problems involved in that, right? Housing insecurity, or having like appropriate housing, or remaining in the housing that you value, and somebody's trying to push you into a different kind of
Yeah.
a living situation that you don't want. Being isolated, especially during COVID, that came out, and or if siblings are suddenly living together and that's a new thing, lack of privacy can also be an issue, and just all the complexities of having
The hits.
you know.
All the classic hits. Well, Pamela, thank you so much for joining us. We appreciate
We
your
really
time.
appreciate it, Pamela.
Honestly, yeah, awesome. And thank you for your work.
Thank you.
It's
Anytime.
important work, and we do
Yeah.
encourage anybody who's interested in explaining or talking about their situation as it relates to having a sibling with autism. And everybody's situation is very different. Graham's situation versus mine is very different. Obviously, the levels of severity of the individual with autism varies, but yeah, I'm sure Pamela would love to hear from you, and it'd be great to include in that study. Thank you for doing important work, Pamela. Well, Graham, you know what I'm going to ask you. I ask you this every time we do an interview. What do you think?
Well, I have to ask. I have to ask you because I
Yes,
did
sir.
the interview, so it's my
That's
turn to
true.
ask you.
Well,
What'd you think, Kirk?
I think JJ should plug in his headphones. I've asked him 4 times.
Yeah.
I think it's always important for people to do research into these different ideas, positions of that affect people in the community, and so communication between autistic siblings or siblings where one has autism. I'm not super familiar with the research, but anytime there could be research that's expanding the wealth of knowledge for those of us in this community that we did not ask to be part of, I think it's helpful.
Yeah.
My son is on the severe end, so her thing about giving back and stuff, it's harder for me. My son's on the is unlikely to be even saying I love you to me. It's never happened, but
you do get stuff back from him. Something.
what is that? What stuff am I getting back?
Love, affection. He's happy to see you when you wrestle.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, yeah. There's affection and I assume love. I mean, he doesn't say it, but I think he loves me. Yeah. That stuff's harder to process when you don't hear it, and
But you get someone to love, though, regardless.
right. That's true. I have someone to love.
There you go.
So, did we do it?
When you look
Graham?
back on your life, when you're,
in my old age in 2 years, yeah.
in your late 90s, early 60s, who knows? And you're like, you assess your life. One of the things I worry about as someone lying on my deathbed maybe one day, like, will my life be worthwhile? Like, what, I know that I would like to have children, and even though it didn't exactly work out like how you envisioned, you had a child, you love them, and you tried your best.
Two
You're
children
trying
I
your
love.
best.
Yeah.
You have two.
Yeah.
But specifically your son, like, that's a huge accomplishment. You.
Parenting is a huge accomplishment. I don't know. I feel like the trailer parks are full of parents. I don't know if it's that big of an accomplishment, but
I'm successful parenting, trying hard, being a good parent. Not just anyone can, have a kid and then stick with it and take care of them. And that's what you're doing. I'm not saying just creating a kid and leaving it in the trash. I'm saying you're taking care of it.
Yeah.
That's something. That JJ has given you that. I don't know.
It's true. I guess it's true.
I think the fact that you're doing it and doing it well is great. I think it's great. I think it's lovely. I think you right now being in Sweden is lovely. I think it's a beautiful thing.
Mainly because it's summer, but
Yeah.
sorry, jokes. Well, did we do it, Graham? Another episode? I'm gonna have to hold this microphone away from my face so I can cough. Go ahead. What do you got this week?
Yeah, we did it. You know, hey,
Excuse me.
at the very least, we are creating a discussion. Anyway, easy for me to say without a nonverbal child. I know.
Well,
see
these
how
are
I
hard issues, so I'm not gonna push back. I just I'm thinking about the mom in the middle of the country who, and as severe as JJ is, and JJ is on the very severe end. There's kids even more severe, so he's ambulatory. He can get around. There's those guys that aren't even moving. They're stuck in chairs and beds, and so I just don't want to diminish the experience of those moms and dads, and that's all. But if you want to have a kid, Graham, I definitely think you could have a kid.
Of course, I could have a kid.
I'm not a fertility doctor. I just look like one, but still, I think you could do it.
No, I could do it, but who knows what's gonna happen. But anyway, love you, buddy. And if you are in the LA area, I got a show coming up. Big show at Dynasty Typewriter at 7:30 p.m. July 3rd, the day before America's Independence Day. That is in Los Angeles at Dynasty Typewriter Theater. It's a big theater.
It's a lovely theater.
Please come. We got the amazing Steph Tolev is going to open up for me. So it's going to be a great show. Check it out.
Oh, that's terrific. Big thanks to Professor Pamela Block. Thank you so much for coming. I didn't bring this up on the podcast, but my coach in college, who played 12 years in the NBA, was an NBA All-Star, was named John Block. I was wondering if there's any relation, but I guess that's too common of a name. I will be in Absolute in Ottawa end of August, and Graham now has my flight details. Full circle. I texted it to him during the podcast.
Yep.
Because I'm petty. There is a direct flight.
Good news. There's direct flights are back up. That must be very new.
They're back up post-COVID. Flights through the roofs, demands through the roof. Come see me. I'll be there all week. I will be taping a new album, I hope, if I can set it up in time. And guys, you do me a huge favor. My Instagram and YouTube is Kirk Smith Comedy. A quick ad. Share my videos. It would really help me. I'd appreciate it. Grandma, what's your social media?
Mr. Graham K across the board. Find me, baby. All right.
Have a great week, guys. You can do it.